There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the name. Hey yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and in this video I want to tell you about the problem with being a high income employee versus being a business owner. Okay, alright, so in case you don't know, I'm an accountant, right? And so let's say you make 6 figures from your job. That's great. You're a W-2 employee. The problem with being a W-2 employee is being able to write things off on your taxes. It is difficult. Like even owning real estate, once you make over $75,000, it becomes an issue. Okay, this year with my taxes, I had to put $20,000 in my retirement account just to like help out with my taxes. I had to put money up for retirement. And you know, I get it. That's the government's way of trying to make sure that people do save for retirement. But I had to max out my retirement at $20,000, right? Or my 401k plan. And then I'm probably going to have to put some money in a Roth IRA. I think you could put like $6,000, well, I think around $6,500 or something like that into that kind of account. But it's just difficult at a certain point to put money up, to avoid taxes. So there's two things. One is tax evasion and one is tax avoidance, right? So you never want to do tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. Tax avoidance is legal. So you're incentivized to save money for retirement. Okay, so if let's say you make $100,000 and you put $21,000 up in your 401k, they'll take that $21,000 away from your taxable income on your taxes. So you still end up saving the money. You can't touch it until you're old. I mean, you can borrow against it, and unless you want to take a hardship loan, which you don't want to do, but because they're going to tax it at a crazy rate anyway if you do that. So that doesn't make any sense. Now you can borrow against it, and depending on what kind of 401k you have, what kind of agency, what your agency allows. But you know, they kind of force you to put money up for retirement. If not, they'll end up taking some of that or a good grip of that in taxes. You don't want to have that happen, right? So you're better off putting the money up, even though it's not going to be a part of your daily life, right? I put like $1,700 up a month into my 401k that I don't have access to using that $1,700 per month in my regular life, right? And so I have a side business where we do government contracts and things like that, and I make more in profit. I bring home more from my government contract. And it's a small government contract, but I bring home more in my check than I do from working every day or 5 days a week with my job. And it's crazy because I actually don't do anything when it comes to going out and doing any of the physical work with my government contract. But my business honestly makes a lot more money. Not even the fact that it makes a lot more money, which it does, but it makes more money, and it's a small contract. That's what I'm trying to say. Like when I look at what I actually live off from my job, not considering retirement, not considering say health insurance, which is great for say the kids, but I'm a disabled veteran. I have health care already through the VA, but for the fam, you know, it makes sense, right? I have health care through my job. But outside of that, I don't really have a lot of other benefit. Even when I include the 20-something thousand into my salary, it's still not much more than what my business generates for me because also there's no taxes coming out up front when you have a business, right? You can write off pretty much everything if you want to. A lot of people try to not write off everything so they can go get loans and things like that. When they feel like they're ready to go get a loan, they want to show that they had some income coming in from their business. But in all actuality, though, I could really write off everything with the business, and depreciating things, whatever. But as a W-2 employee, that salary is kind of the only real tax savings you really get is from retirement, like put money in a 401k. It's really difficult, right? Like if you have a business, right? Your business can rent and lease cars, or you can depreciate cars in your business for whatever that business is. Like if you go buy a semi truck, or if you go buy a dually truck, or if you just go buy a G-Wagon, there's ways that if it's for the business and it's used in the operation of the business, let's say you're the business owner, you drive this car every day to take care of business stuff. That's a business car. That car belongs to that business. You can depreciate the car. You can do all sorts of things. Maybe you rent a car or you lease a car and you're paying that car back to somebody, whoever that is. That entire rental agreement can be written off. I'm not your tax accountant, I'm not your accountant. I'm just saying that it's so many things that you can do. And this is no kind of advice or anything like that with your business. I'm just saying that when you're a W-2 employee, you don't get any of that, If you have a house that's rented through the business, that's rented, that is essentially a business, a tax write-off. Like you can write all of that off, that expense, you can write that off from the profit. And you can, like, I'm not saying you can stay there, but you're operating the business and it's owned by the business. You're the CEO, it is kind of what it is. But when you're a W-2 employee, you can't do anything like that, right? So the only tax advantage I have, or tax shelter I have, is really putting the money in a 401k. It's terrible because at the end of the day, what I actually get a chance to have and spend to pay bills and to live off of, I realized that I wouldn't be able to live my lifestyle with just that alone. Not me, I wouldn't. Somebody else probably could, but for me, I definitely had. I got multiple sources of income, but I realized, I don't really see a lot of money net on the net side after taxes and 401k and insurances and all of that kind of stuff has to come out. I really don't see. Now, insurance is something that you're gonna have to do regardless. Health insurance, you got to pay it, right? So I probably I definitely get a benefit because of my job paying some of that. But as far as the amount of money that I could be making, when I'm looking at like what's net, right? Like it's not a lot of money, especially once I'm seeing like my other businesses, the other things I'm doing to generate money, not just rivaling, but essentially dwarfing, what I might make in 6 months on my next contract is more than what I would make in a full year working every day. And that's crazy, especially if I'm not like the person even doing the job, like doing the work. I'm just the owner of the corporation. So, it's crazy when I'm like really looking at it, so it's definitely some issues with being a high income employee. Imagine making $200,000 or $300,000 and they killing you with taxes, and what you're bringing home might be equivalent to what a small business could generate with very little effort. Almost, it's kind of not depressing, but kind of in a way. Like they said, Warren Buffett paid less in taxes than his secretary that made like $50,000 or $30,000 or whatever she made. She paid more in taxes than he did because he's the owner of the corporation. And of course, he was like the second richest man on the planet at the time. And that's the difference, like being a high income employee versus being a business owner. is like way different, and I'm definitely looking to switch completely. And I'm gonna keep you guys up to date because hopefully it's coming sooner than later. With this next contract we get, I'm looking to vacate my position, which is crazy because, like, you go to school and don't get me wrong, this is good. My position is a dream job. It's a dream job. It's one of the greatest jobs you could ever get. You know what I'm saying? Income is good, lifestyle is good. It's nothing bad to say about it. It's just, I'm destined for more. I'm destined for more. So, but to think that I go do all of this stuff to get this career, and I'm in it, and it's great, and it's still not necessarily worth it for me. At the time it was great, and for a lot of people you never need anything else to live a good life. But I'm trying to get 5 million in 5 years. That's my number. I'm gonna do a separate video talking about that entirely, but that's what I'm working towards, and so yeah, it's definitely not making 100,000, 200,000, 125, 200, 300,000 a year as an employee is completely different from being a business owner and being able to get some of those business checks where you don't have all of those things coming out up front, and you can write it all off and make more money and then end up showing less in a taxable income. It's a completely different game. You do not have the ability to write off car notes as a W-2 employee. You don't have the ability to write off rents from your apartment and your mortgages or whatever, that aren't in your business name. As a W-2 employee, like, you don't have those options, even to put a home office in, and the expenses of having a home office, which everybody has a computer at home, everybody has internet at home, everybody has water and lights and all of that kind of stuff, but you're not able to write those things off as a W-2 employee, when as a business owner you can. It's crazy. It's crazy. When you go buy clothes, you go buy suits and things like that, those things can be written off. The trip that I go, every time I go take a trip and I have a house in the area, and one of the things that I was always told was, if you have a location that you frequent, then you should buy a house in that area. That way, every time you go on that trip to whatever your favorite place is, Houston, if you love going to Houston, you go to Houston 3-4 times a year, buy a house there, ride past your house, check on your house. That trip then becomes, essentially can become a write-off. Now, like I said, I'm not your accountant. I'm not giving you legal advice in this video, but look into it. That's all I'm saying. But that's what I was always told, was to, if you got a location you're gonna go to, buy a house there, frequent it. Whenever you frequent, go down there, go buy your crib, check on it. It's a business expense. It's that trip. You're taking care of business. You're conducting business. Keep good notes and things like that. Things you talked about, looked into. What were you stopping by for? Just take those notes. But essentially, that trip is a legitimate business expense. But still can enjoy yourself while you're there. Anyway, right now you're watching Casino as a Name. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we out. There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. It's crazy, right? There's money everywhere. There's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino as a Name.